A couple of months back, I made a video reacting to your guys' bold predictions for this upcoming NHL season. Not long after I made that video, I then gave you guys my bold predictions. You guys showed a ton of support on those videos and really seemed to enjoy them, so I figured why not react to some more of your bold predictions. Yesterday I posted on the community tab saying going to make a part 2 reacting to your bold NHL predictions, so leave them down below. At the time I'm recording this video, there's almost 300 comments on that post, so thank you to everybody who left a comment. I picked out about 15 for this video, but before we get into any of that, be sure to go follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you want to talk hockey somewhere other than YouTube. Links to those will be down below in the description. And of course, if you guys are new to this channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's begin. The first comment comes from the Basil Man. I hope I'm saying your name properly, but they say if the Canadian division takes place, Ottawa doesn't finish last. That actually is pretty bold because you look at the rest of the Canadian teams, they all have like playoff aspirations. Ottawa, not so much, at least yet anyways. If I were to do my power rankings for the Canadian NHL teams, which was actually a video I was thinking of doing, I would have Ottawa last, but I honestly have no clue who I would have second last. So this definitely is a pretty bold prediction. It could potentially happen. With the way parity is in the NHL today, you really just never know. Ottawa definitely should be a pretty exciting team to watch, though. They're gonna have a lot of young guys throughout the roster, you know, Josh Norris, Tim Stützle, Alex Formenton, Drake Batherson. I expect all those guys to be full-time members of the team. That being said, though, I'm not going to agree with this prediction just because I have a real hard time trying to decide who I think would finish lower than the Senators, but this is a real good bold prediction because it's in the realm of possibilities for sure. The next comment we have comes from Drew Ruff, who says Ville Husso takes the starting job from Jordan Binnington. This is definitely a pretty interesting one. Obviously Binnington was pretty bad for the Blues in the playoffs and lost his starting job to Jake Allen in those playoffs, but honestly I feel like people are a little bit too tough on Jordan Binnington. So many people already call him, you know, a one-year wonder, but he was actually pretty solid for the Blues this past regular season. I personally still think Binnington's a good goalie. I don't think he's the 5th best goalie in the NHL, which is what the NHL thinks. That was where he was on their top 10 goalies list, which is pretty insane. If the Blues hadn't traded Jake Allen, then I think him taking the starting job from Binnington would be a lot more possible than Husso taking it from him, because you have to remember Ville Husso hasn't even played a single NHL game in his entire career yet. His play would have to be pretty incredible if he wants to get a hold of that starting spot. The next comment we have comes from Samir. Again, I hope I'm saying that name right. I apologize if I'm not, but this person says the Boston Bruins will have a season similar to the Sharks last season. This is honestly something I could see happening. Maybe not quite as bad as the season the Sharks just had, but Marchand and Pastrnak are probably both going to miss some time, which is definitely going to hurt. They lost Torrey Krug, Zdeno Chara is probably not coming back. Like, there are lots of reasons to believe that we could see Boston take a big step backwards this upcoming season. Again, I don't know if they're going to be quite as bad as the Sharks were, you know, one of the worst teams in the NHL, but I would say this is a pretty good bold prediction. Moving along now from James with an X, says Kaprizov is a major disappointment and a goalie like Shesterkin or Sorokin wins the Calder. I could see some people being disappointed with Kirill Kaprizov just because of how high the expectations are for him. Let's base this off of an 82 game season. If Kirill Kaprizov came in and put up like 40 to 45 points, I feel like a lot of people would probably be pretty underwhelmed and disappointed just because of how much hype he's getting before even playing a game in the NHL. And as far as one of Shesterkin or Sorokin winning the Calder, I could definitely see it happening. I had Shesterkin 3rd on my Calder Trophy power rankings. I definitely think he's going to be in the conversation. Now, I didn't have Sorokin in my top 10 just because I'm not sure how many games he's going to play. I feel like Varlamov will probably play a good bit more, but you look at the numbers Sorokin has put up in the KHL over the past 5 seasons, they are mind-blowing, so I would not be surprised if he comes in and plays incredible. This next comment we have comes from the official Young Ho Co YouTube channel, who says the NHL will go back to their 24-team playoff format. I'm going to go ahead right away and say I don't think it'll happen. I feel like a lot of people would be upset by this, especially like the old school hockey fans. However, me personally, you definitely would not hear any complaints from me. I absolutely loved these past playoffs, especially the play-in rounds. Like, you woke up at 9 in the morning and watched hockey throughout the entire day up until like midnight. It was incredible. It was a hockey fan's dream. Also, if there were 24 teams making the playoffs again, Detroit could be fighting for a playoff spot as soon as next season. So again, won't hear any complaints from me, but it's probably not going to happen. Continuing on now, this next comment comes from the Border Geek, who says Connor Hellebuck repeats as as the Vezina trophy winner. Reading that, you wouldn't think it's that bold. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck just won the Vezina. He's one of the best goalies in the league. In my opinion, he is the best goalie in the NHL, at least right now, but it actually is pretty bold, all things considered, because we haven't seen a goaltender win back-to-back Vezina trophies since Marty Brodeur did it in 2008 and 2007, so it's been over a decade. I think Hellebuyck could do it. The dude's a beast, so I'm actually going to go ahead and agree with you and make this bold prediction as well. I think Hellebuyck will go back-to-back and win another Vezina. Moving along now, this comment comes from Samuel Paradis, who says, Alex Galchenyuk has a strong season in Ottawa with 20-plus goals. I really hope this one happens. Galchenyuk has shown in his career that he can be a 20-goal scorer. It's just been a while since he's actually done it. He came close in the 2018-19 season with the Coyotes. He had 19 goals, but then obviously this past season he really struggled. I feel like 20 might be a little bit hard to achieve, especially considering this upcoming season is almost certainly going to be a shortened season. Nonetheless, I'm just hoping Galchenyuk has a solid season that he can build off of and, kind of just get his career back on track. The next comment comes from, we'll just call this person X, and they say, Linus Ullmark finally gets his starter role in Buffalo and finishes the season with a .925 plus save percentage and a 2.15 goals against average as the backbone to Buffalo's return to the playoffs. For one, Ullmark better be Buffalo's full-time starter this upcoming season. If he's not, that would be pretty ridiculous. He had a real good season this past year on a Buffalo team that wasn't very good. He had a .915 save percentage. If Buffalo is a good team, a .920, maybe a .925 is achievable. That is pretty high expectations. As far as Buffalo making the playoffs, I like what they've done. If you watch my video grading every NHL team's offseason, you would know that. I gave Buffalo an A+. A big reason for that is because Eichel said he's excited about the moves the Sabres have made, which is the most important thing. But I'm going to try and shy away from predicting which teams I think are going to make and miss the playoffs until we see what the divisions are going to look like, because I feel like that is going to play a pretty important role in which teams are going to make it. Next up from Caden McCrory, Cody Ceci and Mike Matheson actually turn out to be decent defensemen and help out the Penguins' blue line more than hurt it. Yeah, I guess this definitely does qualify as a bold prediction because Matheson and Ceci were both pretty bad this past season and aren't really looked at as good pickups for the Penguins. I'm sure heading into the season, both Ceci and Matheson are just wanting to get going, have a positive impact on the Penguins and just prove a lot of people wrong. And sometimes a change of scenery really helps players coming off of a bad season. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely hoping for the best for both of these guys. Moving along now, this comment comes from Michael, who says Mike Babcock has a job by the end of the season. This one is definitely, pretty bold. Mike Babcock's name was thrown around when Washington was looking for a new head coach, but they obviously went out and got Peter Laviolette instead. I'm not sure if I see Babcock, getting a job ever again in the NHL, honestly, and I'm not sure if I think he should either, and that's coming from a Red Wings fan. Mike Babcock was the coach of my favorite team for a long time. I'm not really sure if his coaching style works for the way the NHL is today. Obviously, he's done a lot of things to players he's coached over the years that are really frowned upon, and rightfully so. So yeah, I definitely think it's a real long shot that Mike Babcock ever gets a head coaching job in the NHL again. Next up, we have a comment from Leo Semyonov, who says Kotkaniemi puts up 20 more points than Suzuki. Montreal fan, if you couldn't tell. I actually talked about Kotkaniemi in yesterday's video, saying how I think he's going to have a big breakthrough season. That being said though, I don't know if I see him outscoring Suzuki to begin with, let alone by 20 points. Maybe if Suzuki gets injured or something, but we're obviously not hoping for that. Continuing on now, this next comment says Sergachev explodes and is in talks for the Norris. Sergachev is a great young defenseman. He just got a new contract extension not too long ago, but I really don't think this is going to happen, especially since Victor Hedman is literally on his team, and if anyone in Tampa's in Norris talks, I think it'll probably be Hedman. If Hedman were to get injured for a big chunk of the season and Sergachev steps up as the #1 defenseman on that team and plays unreal, then maybe, but like I said when talking about Suzuki and Kotkaniemi, we never hope for injuries. Next up, we have another one related to the Lightning. Iggy the Hawks fan 19 says Anthony Cirelli gets offer sheeted. Please, somebody do it. Tampa Bay literally has negative cap space right now to re-sign Cirelli and Eric Chernak. Cirelli's an amazing young player. He got Selke Trophy votes this past season, had a career high in points. GMs are just too nice and they're too scared to, ruin relationships. Moving along now from Josh 1127, not one NHL player will score over 100 points this season. It could definitely happen depending on how short the season is. If it's like a 48 game season, then yeah, definitely. But even if there's like 72 games played, I still think we'll see some guys put up over 100 points. This past season was obviously cut short due to the pandemic, and we still saw a couple of 100-point scores. Next comment comes from TGJ, who says Loui Eriksson is the best player on the Vancouver Canucks. Well, yeah, obviously. And now for the final comment of the video from Matthew Reiger. Stanley Cup is won by a Canadian team. He says in brackets, I don't know how hot this take is. It's a pretty hot take considering it's been over 20 years. You know, I am Canadian, and even though I'm a Red Wings fan, I'm not delusional. I know they're not going to win the Stanley Cup this upcoming season. I would love to see it be won by a Canadian team. It's been way too long. So to finish out the video, I'm going to be bold too. I'm going to agree with Matthew here. I predict a Canadian team will win the 2021 Stanley Cup. So that is going to wrap up today's video reacting to your guys' bold NHL predictions. If you want to see me do more videos like this where I take a look at some of your comments, you know, more deal or no deals, over, unders, would you rather, stuff like that, just be sure to leave a like and let me know you enjoyed down below. Again, if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a pretty interesting video planned for tomorrow, so I'll catch you guys then.